there, welcome back to my show. As you can see, a slight hair difference. Yes, I cut my head to shreds while I was doing it. You know, I'm not very good at it, and I'm not sure it quite suits me, you know, this thing. So it's not going to be repeated. I just get bored. I thought I'd try it. And it's something. I mean, it's quite good to see your head, how it looks without hair, because I'm one of those people, I was actually born with hair. This is the first time my head's ever seen the light of day. My actual skull. Like, ever. So I gave it a shot. Probably not the best idea, but I gave it a shot. So I'm doing the videos with this look. I should say before, at the end of the video also that I take a week or two off after this week. Not to do with the hair. I think it's amused and I tried it. It's just to do with I'm running a bit late with some of the videos to do. I could do with a couple of weeks break and just watch stuff, and then it's just easy. I like having some time between watching the films and doing the videos, and it's get smaller and smaller and smaller as time's going on, and now it's like it's a bit too close. So I'm taking a week or two off from doing videos, but I'm still be watching stuff. But you get a week or two break from me, although there is a planned collaboration with Ronin coming up as well, but that'll be it, really, after these videos for a couple of weeks. Also, because I'm a Jon Sono fan, who's one of his films, Red Post and Extra Street, was my favourite film of last year, I should comment a little bit about the accusations. Basically, it's way too early to tell what's actually going on, from my opinion. 2 unnamed actresses have come up with accusations against them. I don't know if they've worked with him or if they didn't get the part, saying it was like sex for a part in the film. And one or two other people said that Sono's done that in the past. I don't know. These are accusations. I don't know the reality. Sono's denied it, saying maybe he's a bit rough in the crew sometimes, but he's denied it. It's been a suggestion that he said that it's untrue, and it's a suggestion that me actually take legal action. So I didn't talk about it I didn't say anything about it for a week while the accusations come on, because nothing's followed up on it. I mean, no one else has come forward. So I thought I'd just wait and see, and nothing's come forward. We'll see how it goes. I'm taking this the way I take most things with directors whose work I like, or even any directors who have accusations against them, is like, I've had a point where I'm just going to separate the artist from his work. Some people said, why hasn't Forest of Love been taken down by Netflix? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, it's an accusation. It's not proof in law. And even if it was, the artist's work and the work and the artist itself are two different things. The work can go on with the commentary of what the artists did that was wrong. Like, you can say Polanski's a great director, but there's also his private life, which has some nasty things in it. Woody Allen has been tainted by accusations. Again, I don't, as with the Jon Sono thing, I don't know how accurate or not accurate they are. I was never a big Woody Allen fan, but I don't think his films should be like never seen again because of that. Because of these accusations, that's not the good way it works. In my opinion, the art should speak for itself. The artists, they have to deal with what they didn't do on their own, you know. But they have to. It's something that's separate from the art to a degree, in the sense of, yes, some of the art probably came from the dysfunction, but the art itself is something that should be on its own. You can look at the art and still feel queasy about the person who did it. That's a mature reaction. People want stuff like that cancelled and not seen. That's a bit dodgy. That's more or less saying, leaving it up to lots of people who have an opinion on something might mean my opinion might be ignored. So I demand you listen to my opinion. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. It's really not how it works. Things have to breathe in a culture. I mean, look at Louis C.K. has come back on a Grammy after his misconduct. people can come back. I mean, the thing about cancel culture thing is, some people say it doesn't exist, some people say, oh, it definitely does exist. It's actually more complicated. It's like, there's something there, but it's not quite as pervasive as some people would like believe. But there is people who want other people cancelled or their work cancelled. There is an extreme set of people who want that done. There's other ones who think, no, let people decide on their own whether you support this person or not, depending on what they've done in their life. That's my kind of point of view on it. It's like, let people decide either way. They can decide to either support the person or not. I mean, like, I don't watch Woody Allen films because I just found some of the stuff weird years and years ago. Plus, I don't watch so keen in his films. I'll still watch a Polanski film, but I'm a bit queasy about it sometimes because of his what he's done. But I still can't deny how good a director he actually is. I have covered that before in a video, so I think it's a case of you just wait and see what happens with the case. Don't try and yell for take all the work down because a few people have accused him of something. We don't even know who the accusations came from. We don't know how reliable the accusers are. So let's not jump ahead. Let's just see what happens. And even if he's guilty, the work and the person is different. But I have no idea of the guilt or innocence of him at all. I don't know him. But I mean, to be honest, with any artist you like, you have to go in with reasonable assumption that someone in the arts may have some really dodgy instincts because people who go into the arts are dysfunctional in the first place. There's a reason why they go into the arts. There's try to blindside obviously look oh how great they are. That's not the person, that's the image you're falling into. So that's something we all do. We all say this person's great, the films are great, and you kind of ignore the other stuff. It's not a healthy thing. So you appreciate that, but also you can just see the artist may have some issues. I mean, Sono being dysfunctional is not a new thing. Everyone's known for years he's dysfunctional in certain ways. Even in a documentary, I've said he's a bit weird. So we'll see how these accusations come out. We'll see what happens with them. But I thought I'd do that at the beginning of this video anyway. I don't want to do a whole video on it. Also, it's tied into what's happened with this first video, which is Toshiaki Toyoda's The Hanging Garden, which I watched finally. Now, Toyoda, after he made Hanging Garden, it was a big success, actually had his career ruined because of a drug charge. Which to me is, from the British or the Western point of view, someone getting caught with drugs and that ruining their career for a couple of years seems absurd. In Japan, they're much more extreme about drugs. Like, they don't like it. There's social penalties for that. That's one of the areas where they actually are. You know, there's even now people who have been caught with drugs in the arts, like video game voice actors and stuff, have been into a lot of trouble. It's a big thing for them. And basically, a director who'd worked up and done some amazing films suddenly found himself in difficulties, and he has never really recovered. And he had a second arrest in 2019 over something absurd. And so this is why you shouldn't take any... Even though his thing was far different from Sono's, far different. To me, what he got in trouble for is so much more minor than what Sono's been accused of. But it's just a thing of, this is what happens when people have a moral stance over artists or over how they should behave in life. No, how you behave in life is a detail of the law. The work is something else. And this is what damage is done if you try and cancel someone out of morality or for feigned morality. People get hurt for no reason. So, but this one was far more absurd than what Sono was accused of. This is far more egregious. It's like, this should never have happened to his career. This is ridiculous. At least from my Western point of view, it's like, what? He had drug charge, so what? You know, most people in the arts have drug charges sometimes. It's just like, it's occupational hazard, but he's in trouble for that, which is a real shame because Toyoda is basically, along with Tsukamoto, like one of the best working directors around at the moment. He's just so good. And Hanging Garden is a full-on masterpiece. It really is. I heard how great it was, and when I was watching the other Toyota films, this was a lot. I'm saving this one for last. I heard how good it was, and it was funny because I saw I'm Flash, which was had not got the respect of all those other films, and I thought that was astonishing. And this one's on par with that one. This and I'm Flash are the two films of Toyota's I think are my favourites, and it's all about how dysfunctional we actually are, how messed up we are, how we actually use excuses to avoid facing our problems, and how your problems can come out in different ways, and how you can have your problems develop as you try and find cure for them, and you can actually ignore other signs of the side effects of your problems. It's all about how people are human, how no one's entirely reliable as a person who you should entirely trust as being having the best idea for you, because people remember things wrong. I mean, that's the big thing. You keep on seeing people in this film, you keep on people telling the stories, and then you actually see what happened, and it's always a bit different. It's always about taking into effect what people see and what they feel versus what happened or what a person remembers of it. No one's quite sure what the actual reality is, and it becomes a sticking ground for people. It's all about unreliable narrators in your own head, and all unreliable fantasies in your head of how life should be and how you should react to life and how difficult life actually is. So it takes around the idea of this family who's a working class family. They're struggling, both parents have a job, the kids are in school but struggling, and they're trying to have an outlook on life where everyone tells each other what they've been doing rather than lying. They have to tell the truth. And of course, you find out pretty quickly that they're not. There's still lots of lies going on. They may know a bit more about what the other people are doing in the family. Like, it's an open secret that the father's having an affair. But he's never been caught yet. But everyone knows what's going on. Him and his wife are having sex, and that's kind of like fairly obvious to everyone. There's a dysfunction there. The daughter's having a sexual awakening and is getting frustrated with the guy she's around because they're not very interesting or very good for her. The son is becoming a shut-in. The mother has so many problems. She used to be... her son takes after her. She used to always know but shut-in. She was very sensitive, very difficult upbringing, very difficult time for her mother, and it continues. And you see that she's the one who's pushed this honesty at all costs, and she's and as you go through her memories is that she manipulated her husband into marrying her by getting pregnant, and all the rest of it's a trap from him because he wanted to go do something else with his life. Is that true? You don't know. That's her view of it. That's maybe her trying to take control of a mess that she created. Like she said, she always wanted to live in these flats. Was that true? Because these flats are, at the time, were the standard, and now they've become decrepit. Did she really ever want to always live there? No one knows, because it could be untrue. It could be her trying to justify her life or her actions, or trying to find logic for her actions. So yeah, this is all intentional. You see people doing this all the time in life. It's like something was out of their control, and then trying to act as if it's intentional. I mean, this happens because no one likes the chaos of life. And this is a film about a family who are trying to struggle through a difficult situation. The husband doesn't have a great job, and he doesn't really like the job, and he's always taking time off to have affairs and things. The wife is doing a job she's not that great at, and she's judgmental about other people, and she gets someone fired because this person's nasty to her. So she's not always the nicest person either. But you're sympathetic to them because their foibles and frailties are out in the open. They have problems. They feel bad if they do something wrong. They have issues that are not going to be solved anytime soon. They say things to each other which are horrible, but they're very human. They're very much in the view of humanity is a mess. Humanity, we like to think we have more control than we have. I mean, she talks to her mother was in a sick in hospital, and she and her mother have a very dysfunctional relationship. And then later on in the end, when they see her brother, he thinks she and her mother are very close, and he's the one that's in the outs. And it's just a case of the mother's difficult to get along with. She's just difficult. But the point in this film, everyone's difficult in their own way. Everyone has their problems. Everyone has their issues. It's not just a simplistic thing of this person can be defined as this and that's it. That's all it is about. None of all these weird aspects to them that are hard to control, that are difficult to understand because the people involved don't understand them entirely. They've got drives they don't understand. They've got reactions to things they don't quite know why they're doing it. You know, but they've moved towards certain decisions that are not good for them. And you see how, over time, like, mistakes the mother made is actually happening to the daughter. The relationship between the mother and the daughter is almost the same as the mother and her mother in a way of dysfunctionality. It's not as obviously combative, but it is troubled. You can tell down the line they're going to have their own dynamic that's going to be very difficult because that's the way life is. It's not the idealistic version of life that the mother's trying to hang on to. She's trying to have an open life. She makes breakfast in the morning for the kids who don't really appreciate it, don't really want to be there. You know, they can say the son's having problems and the kid's going to become a shut-in, which is a problem in Japan, but because people don't know how to communicate, but they don't know how to deal with it. They're trying and get him. He gets a tutor, and he's trying to figure out life through her as well. But he's still having real difficulties. He's one of the most honest, but I'm having difficulties. And they always have views of why he's doing certain things. It's just a kid who knows he's got problems. And it's the idea of the idealistic version of what life should be, and the fact that the society they live in have certain conventions that are useful at times, but also are not useful. It's a kind of relationship with any family is you have the things that are helpful, the family dynamic, but also that's the thing that kind of drags you down and causes lots of problems. You can't really express yourself, and you're not even sure how to express yourself. And that's what's good about the film. It's about the kind of weird dynamic of people, is like how they can't quite get to what's driving them. They can't quite get to what's under the surface with them. It's about their inability to actually find out what they actually are. They can have theories of what they are, but they don't really know. The husband doesn't really drive them. He knows he's not feeling satisfied with his life or where he's gone, but he loves his children. He's trying to do his best for his children, his wife, even though they frustrate him. He has an affair, basically, I think, just to try and have something in his life that actually makes him happy. Because his wife is so focused on the family unit that she's got an idealised version of what that does for them that isn't reality. And that's what her son's trying to tell her. If you focus on your determination, you ignore reality. Because he knows that. He understands, as you go further on, you realise he understands the situation he's in. He doesn't know how to get out of it, but he understands the drives. He's got similar drives. He's very alike to his mother in the sense of certain drives that might go towards obsession that are not a good thing to do. And the daughter is much more chaotic, but she's seen down to chaos as well. She does things on impulse, but they don't always go right. So it's about the different drives of different people in a family unit and how they project this is the cure for our problems, and it turns out not to be the cure. It's just another sign of your feelings that can't quite be developed or quite explained to anybody. Like the mother has this hanging garden of the title in the front area of the house, which is the balcony. She's got all the plants there. It's her domain. You know, so that's almost like this her place to survive family life. And the kids are trying to do other things to survive family life, but they're struggling, and the kind of almost pure happy look the mother has isn't helping them much, and they kind of the fact the father's just scampering around trying to get any sort of joy from life doesn't help them either. They're just looking at the adults and going, "Oh, they're a mess. What the hell do we learn from them?" So it's all about the dysfunction of a family and where it leads to. And what's really good about the film is it doesn't have any big melodramatic solution. It's just like, we're a mess. These are the ways we're a mess. And that's it. And it probably echoes your life too. And there's no simplistic solution that's going to solve anything. Every solution you think of will probably lead to another dysfunction down the line, because no one knows how messed up they are. No one understands their own problems, their own areas of weakness. And that's a flaw in human beings. It's just a flaw we have. So it's about how does that affect your daily life? Well, it affects it quite a lot. It's actually the function of your life. It's the thing that drives you day by day. It's something that you can't escape. You can't escape through fantasies of how you deal with people, or whatever fantasy you have watching films or reading books or something. It's still going to be there after you've escaped for a little bit. It's the thing that's always this gravity of your life. It's always going to bring you back to your difficulties. And the film's all about that, those difficulties, and how there's no simple solution. You just have to it's almost a case of actually going through your own lies to yourself to actually face what your dysfunctions are and try to find a sane solution to it as possible without going overboard. And everyone goes overboard in their own way. So it's like there's no real... Everybody makes bad decisions constantly. It's just the way it goes. Now, that's what's a good thing about Japanese directors, is the eccentric ones seem to understand that people make bad decisions, and that's fascinating. That's what the thing Asia's got over the rest of the world at the moment, is flawed characters. Asian films have very flawed characters in a way that American films and British films could really learn from. Because Britain used to have a lot of flawed characters, and it seems to have got a bit bland. But Asia's great for that kind of sense of life isn't quite what you think it is, and they've got a kind of conservative backdrop for their culture, but the people reacting to it are making these films about how dysfunctional everyone is. And they've been doing that for decades. So, Hanging Garden is wonderful. I highly recommend it. It is on this box set of Toyoda 2005-2021. Where you get Monsters, Clubman Flash, Roast Call, and Day of Destruction, and Go Seppuku yourselves as well. It's a great box set. I highly recommend it. There's not a bad film in there. They're all great. And it's very affordable, so I'd recommend that one. Go get it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed everything I said, or just found it interesting. And I'll be back soon with another video. Right, bye for now.